If you go back to the very first and last episode of Attack on Titan, you'll realize that from Eren's perspective, his first and last point of view is and always will be Mikasa. In this poignant ending scene, it started off with just a female voice singing in the background. But once the bird wraps the scarf around Mikasa, you can hear both Mikasa and Eren's voice actors singing together. This is how Levi holds his teacups. Ever wondered why? Isayama revealed that it's because Levi lived in the slums and was really poor as a kid. He had always admired the rich life, and so when he finally saved enough to buy black tea and a teacup set, the handle snapped and everything shattered. It was really traumatic for him, and ever since, he holds his teacup safely like this. There's a reason why Eren's hair is black. According to Isayama, it's because he's an energetic character. That's why the black hair would make it easier to draw those dynamic speed lines around him when he's moving. Did you know that Armin's colossal titan form literally lacks ears? It's because he wants to avoid hearing the screams of the people he crushes. Just like how it was when they were kids racing to the tree in the first season, in the ending credits, Armin was, once again, the last one to reach the tree. The anime leaves out an important detail from when we were first introduced to Eren at the start, where Mikasa wakes him up from a dream. Eren dreams about Mikasa telling him, "See you later, Eren." In the manga, upon waking up, he then asks Mikasa why her hair is suddenly so long. We know that Mikasa cuts her hair short after the 4-year time skip, and those are also her last words ever to him in the finale. Isayama planted this from the very beginning. The shape and form of the tree at the ending credits is the exact same as the tree that Ymir fell into. Though the way it's portrayed, it shows that it all started with despair, and it ended with hope. When Ymir died and entered Paths, notice that the tree had 3 branches, representing her 3 daughters. Levi is ambidextrous, which means he can use blades equally well with both hands. That explains why he was always superior to Mikasa. Jean actually drew Mikasa long before he even met her. He had drawn a picture of a pretty girl under his blanket in his room whilst his mother was yelling at him from downstairs. His dream girl looks exactly like Mikasa. Isayama, what are you doing to us? Jean has a habit of covering his ears anytime he gets overwhelmed. The manga never explicitly states Hanji's gender. Even right now, it's open to interpretation. This is big because Isayama himself told Kodansha Comics to not confirm any gender even in the translation. Isayama based Hanji's personality on a childhood friend of his. Ever notice that Levi stopped calling Hanji Four Eyes after she lost her eye? Remember how Eren was eaten by Santa Titan in the beginning of the story? That Titan was being controlled by Eren himself from the future. Eren's stepmom, the Smiling Titan, is actually the only pure Titan to kill a victim before eating them. The victim, of course, was Eren's mom. Eren's mom, Carla Yeager, lied about her legs to save Eren and Mikasa from the Titan because they wouldn't have left her otherwise. In the scene where the Titan picks her up, we can still see her legs struggling and kicking. Don't forget that this silly Titan lost his chance to gain the powers of both the Attack Titan and the Founding Titan, all because he forgot to chew. If you look a little closer, all the Titans from Season 1 were the Eldian Restorationists. Ever wondered how Eren knew how to transform into a Titan by biting his hand? It's later revealed that Frida transformed by biting her hand. Eren inherited that from her. Remember the nation of Hisaru, which allied itself with Paradis? It's actually based on real-world Japan from the Edo period and its isolationist policies, much like Wano from One Piece. Eren and Mikasa's 4 years in the Paths, scene by scene, is a direct parallel to the beginning of the entire series when Mikasa asks, "Eren, why are you crying?" And this scene here between Eren and Zeke parallels the deal with the devil. Did you notice that when Eren calls Zeke his brother for the first time, he actually teared up? Maybe all he ever wanted was a decent family. In Levi, Erwin, and Hanji's character interviews, it was said that Levi has to force Hanji to take a bath. I know that fans love to ship these two all the time, but they're more like siblings. Hanji always got along with Levi best among all the Survey Corps soldiers. Isayama said that Levi once wanted to open a tea shop. What makes this goal so funny is that Levi personally just drinks plain tea because any additives like sugar or milk aren't worth spending money on for him. Laura Tiber's last words were indeed, "Usurper Eren Yeager, do you have any last words?" Trios are cursed in Attack on Titan. In the story, one is always destined to leave their trio. Sasha left Jean and Connie, Berthold left Annie and Reiner, and of course, Eren left Mikasa and Armin. Jean and Armin were originally one character in Isayama's early drafts. Imagine if that ended up being the case. Armin's backstory was left out of the anime. What really happened to his parents was that they were so determined to leave the walls, they built a hot air balloon that was supposed to take them over the walls. They were caught and executed as a result, leaving Armin to live with his grandfather. Levi's liquor tolerance is insane. He doesn't get drunk no matter how much he drinks. But then again, he is built different. He also only sleeps an average of 2 to 3 hours a day. Isayama once said that if he could personally say one thing to Levi, it'd be go get some sleep, as Levi suffers from bouts of insomnia. He also doesn't change clothes before going to sleep because he barely sleeps, if at all, and of course, rather than going to bed, he just sleeps in the chair. In the manga, Levi was a lot harsher to Historia than in the anime. When Historia was struggling to decide whether to become queen, Levi didn't just tell her that she needed to make a quick decision like in the anime. In the manga, he yells at her, threatens, and chokes her. This makes her reason for hitting him once she actually becomes queen a lot clearer. Legend has it that the real reason why Levi smiled in this scene with Historia was because she got rid of the dust that was in his clothes. Nearly everyone in Eren's class had a crush on Historia, so much that they started calling her the goddess. The pregnant woman that Eren saw at the port is the same one that fell off the cliff in the final chapter. When the Survey Corps arrived in Marley and was amazed by all the fun and new experiences, like a simple ice cream, Eren wasn't able to share this joy with them because he realized Grisha's memories and the future memories of what he'll eventually do. Many transformed titans are modeled on mixed martial artists. For example, the Armored Titan is modeled after Brock Lesnar and the Attack Titan after Yushin Okami. Bertolt is the only warrior whose human counterpart was based on his Titan form. Isayama once said that he asked himself a question while designing his form. What kind of character would I get if the weakly and docile Colossal Titan was turned into a person? Mikasa's design is based on a woman Isayama met while working a part-time job a long time ago. He said that he got the ideas for her scarf, her hairstyle, eyes, and eyebrows from her. And yes, Mikasa doesn't wear her trademark scarf if it gets too hot outside. Mikasa has never told Eren goodbye and always says "itarashai," which is "see you later" in Japanese, because they're always destined to meet again no matter the circumstances. And let me take a moment to ruin your day by reminding you that Levi and Mikasa are the strongest characters in AOT, yet both of them couldn't save the person that mattered to them the most. The first and last seasons of AOT's ED are a direct parallel to each other. In the very last ED, Eren is seen wearing Mikasa's red scarf, but ever wondered why he was the only one there standing in a beautiful field of flowers? It was because he was there first in the afterlife, waiting for her to arrive. Levi's first line ever in the Attack on Titan anime is "Can they shut up?", which is very fitting for his character. Eren's eyebrows are so thin because Isayama thought that thick eyebrows would feel fake considering Eren's angry and aggressive personality. Isayama named our boy Eren because the name is feminine and it would also be easy to remember. He struggled to make Eren feel alive while writing the story. In his mind, Eren was a slave to the story, which is why he was rather taken aback when Eren became so popular. To add on to this, Isayama said that because he and Eren are polar opposites, he had trouble writing Eren until the 4th volume. Why? Because that's when the voice actor Yuji Kaji started voice acting Eren. It was after Isayama heard his voice acting that he finally figured out the right way to write Eren. Isayama wanted Eren to be the opposite of a chosen one type of protagonist. He thinks that Daz is the character most similar to himself, which is a little insane because Daz was so afraid of being eaten that he was actually glad that the ones who got eaten by Titans were his comrades and not him. He also joked that he's similar to Hans and other garrison members. But this one is because they just sit around and drink booze all the time. As for his ideal character, it's Ymir. And no, not Ymir Fritz, the Ymir who is in the Survey Corps. Next, let's also do one about the OG Ymir Fritz. The summary at the beginning of Volume 22 states that she was the progenitor of the Eldians. But let me tell you that she herself wasn't even an Eldian even when she got the Titan powers. It was after she became the king's wife that she became an Eldian. Basically, the Eldian race precedes the Eldians, but everyone who shares her DNA is the subject of Ymir. Back in the episode where we learn of Ymir Fritz's fate, there are 13 hands pointing to her, referencing the 13 years of life a Titan shifter gets. 9 petals on the flower shown, referring to the 9 Titans. Isayama named Sasha after Sacha Baron Cohen. This was to show that he wanted her to be comedic relief for the story. After we see the portrait of Connie's parents, the Titan that Sasha fights back in episode 27 might just be Connie's father. The way Sasha was eating in this scene is the direct reference to how this Titan devoured its victims. After Sasha died, Mikasa spent a whole day at Sasha's grave. Mikasa is the only female character in the entire story to have her own song. The song is No Matter Where You Are. And speaking of the other characters who have their own songs, we have 7 characters other than Mikasa. These include Eren, Levi, Jean, Erwin, Reiner, Bertolt, and Armin. Isayama wanted Erwin to be something like the embodiment of American justice, like Superman or Captain America. Marvel and Attack on Titan did a one-shot manga crossover together called Attack on Avengers, where the superheroes had to take on the Titans. He also had trouble figuring out how to accurately portray Erwin's character, at least until he drew that scene at the end of Season 2 where Erwin grins after learning that the Titans used to be humans. Also, we know that Erwin lost his right arm, and since that point, he started saluting with his left arm. We see it in the final scene when all of Levi's fallen comrades salute him. Levi is 160 centimeters tall, and let me remind you that he's as tall standing up as Erwin sitting down in this panel. His short height is also in part inspired by Astro Boy and by Kyuzo from the Seven Samurai. Back in Season 1, Episode 16, Erwin tells the recruits that in the next 4 years, 30% of the recruits who enlisted in the Survey Corps will die. Of the main characters, 10 recruits join: Eren, Mikasa, Armin, Jean, Connie, Sasha, Krista, Ymir, Bertolt, and Reiner. Bertolt dies during the battle between the Scouts and Zeke, Ymir at the hands of Marley, and Sasha 4 years later in Season 4. So, indeed, 30% out of those recruits did indeed die in the 4 years that followed his speech. Now, if the 104th Cadet Corps had an arm wrestling competition, Jean would be evenly matched with Eren, which makes sense considering their dynamic. Isayama originally created Connie just to fill out the 104th class top 10 graduates. Funny how he turned out to be one of the most beloved characters when he was created just to fill the spot. Connie cuts his own hair. The screenwriter of the AOT live-action films, Tomohiro Machiyama, learned from the anime director that Isayama based Zeke on him. It's said when a person feels death, the scenery slows down. In this scene between Levi and Zeke, Mappa expresses this with raindrops. Levi could see every single drop of the raindrops because he truly felt death at the moment of the explosion. Onyankopon, on the other hand, has been confirmed to be based on the British actor John Boyega. Boyega is a massive AOT fan, by the way, and he personally acknowledged the similarities. In episode 57, we see a flashback where young Zeke is seen playing with a long-armed monkey toy. This is a foreshadowing of his eventual Beast Titan form. And in that scene, we also see a horse and a couple of fallen soldiers, basically hinting what he was going to do to Erwin and the others with his perfect game. Speaking of foreshadowing, during Season 1, Episode 25, there's this scene of the praying wall worshippers where they intertwine their arms the same way Titans are shown when we finally discover the assembly of the walls. Another detail from the same season, Episode 3, where Eren hurts his head, we can see the steam from his head, the same steam that results from healing in Titan forms. If you mirror the old Eldian Empire's territory vertically, it looks like the African continent. As for the nation within the walls, it's about the size of Zambia, almost twice as big as Japan. If you thought Paradise Island was small, this puts things into perspective. There are several massive forests on the island, especially between Wall Maria and Rose. It's said that they used to be tourist spots before the Titans entered because of Wall Maria's breach. Next, who do you think has the highest recorded kills in Attack on Titan? Obviously, it's Eren, considering how he rumbled 80% of all humanity, but he's actually only killed one Titan in his human form ever since he became a soldier. There's a foreshadowing scene back in Season 1 where Eren screams as the attack Titan, "I'll destroy the entire world." Well, he does exactly that years later. There's an interview from 2013 which mentions how Isayama wanted Eren to know from the beginning that he's a Titan shifter, but ended up scrapping that idea, which was, of course, a great decision, because otherwise we may not have gotten the Santa Titan moment. He also once said that the girl Mikasa gets along with the most is actually Armin, although he did later elaborate that this was just a joke. Armin is the only member of the last Levi squad who didn't place in the top 10 upon his graduation from the Cadet Corps. According to Isayama, Chapter 71 for him is the best in the story. It's where Keith tells Eren and the others that Grisha came from outside the walls. Chapter 69, the one where we learn of Levi's past, is a close second. In the manga, not shown in the anime, Levi broke down crying while looking in the mirror in an attempt to cut his hair, because he remembers his mother before she died, who told him that once she got better, she would trim it for him again. And Chapter 91, where we see Marley for the first time, is also among his favorites. It's mostly because of the fun fight scenes. Now, as for his favorite scene in the story, believe it or not, it's actually the fight between the Attack Titan and the Jaw Titan from chapter 104. We know that Levi finds Eren's cleaning skills respectable, but did you know that there's a reason why he's so obsessed with cleanliness? It's because of his past. He lived underground for so long that he couldn't help but long for a clean home. As a kid, Levi knew nothing but pain, suffering, and loneliness. Now that the rumbling is over, we see Levi handing out candies to kids so they don't experience the same things he went through. Isayama is a huge Game of Thrones fan, and he's mentioned that the story definitely influenced his work. And actually, Falco was inspired by Breaking Bad's Jesse Pinkman. Isayama would redraw past scenes of Eren with more grotesque and twisted detail, reflecting his declined state of mind and how those moments are leading up to something terrible. Those details are carried over into the anime. By the way, where did the idea for the vertical maneuvering equipment come from? Well, it's actually inspired by how Spider-Man fights and moves in the Spider-Man series. Eren kept his promise to Mikasa until the very end, back in Season 2, when he told Mikasa he'll wrap that scarf around her as many times as she wants. We see in the final episode, the bird, aka Eren, wrapping that scarf around Mikasa again. During Mikasa's monologue, we see a shadow of a bird flying through the sky, foreshadowing Eren. Eren has always been a slave to freedom. In the ending, reincarnated or represented as a bird shows that he's finally truly free. If you enjoyed this video, check out my entire 108 Rare Facts series on other anime here.